Hey everyone, and welcome to Linda's on this wonderful Black Friday here. We are very excited that you are joining us. I am a one-man show today, so I've got a lot of different fun things to show you. But over the course of the next few days, you will be taking advantage of and viewing the Black Friday, Cyber Monday stream and shop sessions here at Linda's. Over the course of the next few days, we have 7 sessions for you. This is going to be session 1, where we're going to be talking about some of my favorite stocking stuffers. And we're also going to talk about all the incredible deals that are happening right now at Linda's. So many good deals. Like, I have to write them down and read from a sheet because there's so many that are happening. If you have any questions over the course of this episode, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will be checking the chat back and forth just to make sure I can get those answered. And then I'm sure my mom is watching as well, and she'll get them answered too. She is at home. Hopefully she'll be able to join us on Monday. As you guys know, she had shoulder surgery, so she is recovering from that, but I'm hoping she'll be able to get out of the house and join us on Cyber Monday. I hope all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Put in the chat what your favorite Thanksgiving tradition is, or some of the things that you were able to take part in. I can tell you for the past 30 years, I have always expected and anticipated my mother's cooking for Thanksgiving. But since she couldn't do it due to her shoulder surgery, Ray and I actually surprised her with a fully cooked Thanksgiving meal. We did turkey, ham, yams, green bean casserole, macaroni and cheese, stuffing, mashed potatoes. There's things I'm missing out. I know it rolls. Cranberry sauce, all the things. That way she wouldn't have to worry about it. And Thanksgiving is her favorite holiday. So we wanted to make sure that she was able to get all of those goodies that she likes. So make sure you, again, drop in the chat what you all did for Thanksgiving, what your favorite food is for Thanksgiving, or maybe your favorite non-traditional food. I know our neighbors like to go to Panda Express for Thanksgiving, and that's perfectly fine. But I do want to take you through, if you've never been a part of one of our Black Friday, Cyber Monday stream and shops, I want to kind of take you through how it works before we jump into the episode. So this service is being streamed to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and our very own website. That is a big deal for this purpose in particular. So if you're watching us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, thank you very much. If you want to take advantage of the actual shopping portion where you can just click the add to cart button and drop it into your cart and not have to worry about figuring it out at the very end, hop over to lindas.com and you can click on the live shopping tab and follow along, and I'll be dropping the products in on the website, and you can just easily click add to cart and it will put it in your cart for you, so you don't have to worry about going and finding it later. We like to make it really easy for you in that. Also, while you're on the live shopping page, you can look through the other sessions that we have. I've got 2 more today, one at 1 p.m. Central and one at 3 p.m. Central. You can click that pink notify me button, and the system will send you a text message minutes before we go live. That way you get a notification and a reminder to hop on and join us, because we've got some really fun things to showcase and talk about. So I'm going to hop over here real quick. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I can see those chats coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, another thing to keep in mind before we get going, I do want to talk about deals as well, but I want to talk about the kind of the extra giveaways that we have going on here at Linda's. So I'm going to swap over, and this is what we've got. Okay, so every order that you place at Linda's over the Black Friday, Cyber Monday holiday, every order is 1 entry into the bonus giveaway prize drawing. And I want to thank all of our sponsors that helped us put this together. The grand prize, if you are drawn and you win that, is an Aliso iron. There are 2 of their wool mats, a Quilter Select ruler set, a Quilter Select cutting mat, and a Quilter Select rotary cutter. Second place is a roll of the Linda's Deluxe cotton poly and a pair of our Linda's batting scissors, which we're going to talk about today. Third place is 30 mini glides provided by Philtech, and a Kimberbell in the Seasons felt set, which is really cute. Fourth place is a variety of Quilter Select rulers. You guys know I love Quilter Select, so I want to thank them for sending those to us. And then fifth place is a package of the Tuscany unbleached cotton batting, and then 2 sets of the Aurifil 50 weight thread in different colors. We love us some Aurifil here at Linda's. And that is that fifth place set. So again, if you're just joining, 1 order equals 1 entry into the prize drawing. So keep that in mind. 1 order equals 1 entry into the prize drawing. The bonus giveaways, this started November 24th. So this past Monday when those entries started racking up. So don't fear if you placed an order this past week, right? Or this past week, starting Monday. It's Friday already? Yeah, earlier this week, starting Monday, every order that you have placed has given you 1 entry into this bonus giveaway, and this bonus giveaway ends Cyber Monday at midnight. So 11:59 p.m. on Cyber Monday. So keep that in mind when you're placing your orders over the course of the next few days, that you get entered into those incredible bonus drawings, and then we will draw the winner next week, and I will announce it on After Hours, so next Thursday, who those winners are. So get to ordering because you're going to love it. It's going to be so exciting. Okay. Another thing I want to talk to you about is, I had told you I have to have a list. I have to have a list because there's so many things happening right now. I want to talk about our deals. So we have sessions on every single one of these things that I'm going to talk about, but just so you have an idea, if you want to go ahead and get started shopping, all of our batting is 35% off. Score, okay? Sold. I'm done at that. All of our fabric is up to 35% off, which is a really great deal. Some of our fabrics, due to certain manufacturer restrictions, we can't go lower, but that's why I put that up to 35. Majority of them are 35% off. Some you'll see 30, some 25-ish, but majority of them are 35% off, so that's an incredible deal. Later today, we're actually doing a fabric walkthrough of the store at 3 p.m., so that'll be really cool, so you can get your eyes on some and then start adding them into your cart. All notions, stuff we're going to talk about today, stocking stuffers, are up to 30% off. So sold on that. Threads, all threads are up to 35% off. Guys, we have the Glide thread. You know how much I love Glide. It's on sale for 30% off right now. Can't get that anywhere. It's incredible. It's this weekend only. So it's really good. It launched today, that deal. We're also having some exclusive in-store deals. So if you are around our store here in McKinney, Texas, or if you're planning to travel to Dallas or through McKinney or through Dallas this weekend, we are open today until 5 p.m. Central. And then Saturday, we're open until 3. And there are some exclusive in-store deals. You'll see them today when we go down to the store. They're good. It takes me back to those Black Friday days of diving into the bins to grab the stuff. We've got bins. You're gonna want to be there. Also, any order in the lower 48, any order over $99 is going to get you free shipping on that. So that's great. If your order's over $149, you're going to get free shipping and 2,000 Corey's Cash points into your account, which is amazing. If your order is over $249, you're going to get free shipping, 2,000 Corey's Cash points into your account, and a $10 gift card emailed to you at the end of the purchase, which is incredible. So we've got a lot going on here. That's why I had to write it down. And I'm sure there's a few things that I did miss, but always hop over to our website, lindas.com. Make sure you're signed up for our newsletter. That's going to give you the most up-to-date information, and follow us on social media so you can stay up to date there as well. Okay. Now to what you really want to see, which are the stocking stuffers. I understand, but I got to get through the things and make sure we all understand the rules of Stream and Shop. If you're just joining us again, make sure if you're watching me on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, thank you very much. But to have the best shopping experience, hop over to our website, lindas.com, click on the live shopping tab, and there you can actually shop live in the video without having to leave the stream at all. So without further ado, let's get into some of my favorite stocking stuffers here for episode 1 of our Stream and Shop session. So we're going to go overhead. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy that you are all here. We're going to be overhead for majority of this stream. I want to start, where do I want to start out actually? Let's start with the ultimate marking pencil. You guys have seen me use this a lot on different videos. The ultimate marking pencil is going to be right here, and it's going to come with the pencil and a sharpener. I happen to have my pencil opened up already. But what this pencil is if you've ever seen me use the pounce powder on any of our videos, that the ultimate marking pencil is a compressed version of that pounce powder, and it's the white version, which means it's going to iron off or it's going to wash off, which is really great. So the reason I love this so much is if I grab some fabric and I want to start doodling on said fabric, either it can be sitting here just on my table, which is really nice for marking up your entire quilt. I'm going to get y'all a zoom in on this real quick, so bear with me one moment. The camera might shake. I do apologize. I just want, oh, there it went. It did shake. Sorry, guys. Okay. I just wanted to get you more of a zoom in on these things so you can see them better. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Okay. So again, ultimate marking pencil. But I can either mark my entire quilt up while sitting here at the table, or I can mark directly when I'm over at the long arm. But I love the ease and smooth use of this because I can just mark directly on my fabric and begin to draw. And if you remember, I said that this was the compressed version of that white pounce powder. The white pounce powder is incredible because you can either iron it away or brush it away. But my biggest thing with any type of marking tool that I've found is that the sometimes, like when you iron things away, it comes back like when it's cold or when it gets wet or when it goes through the dryer or goes through the washer or whatever. I don't know the science behind said pencil, but it doesn't come back when I'm done with it. So let's say I either stitched over this and I was ready to get rid of it, or I didn't like what I just drew, and again, I want to get rid of it. I can grab my ironing surface, place that on there. I'm going to grab my hot iron, and just like magic, it's going to disappear. And like I said, just like that white pounce powder, it's not coming back with the cold or with being washed or anything. So it's really, really great to come up with multiple different designs, and then you can stitch right over this, and it's not going to bounce away. I also like, let me let it cool down for a second. I also like that if I mark something, okay, that's a wonderful quilting design. If I mark something and I decide that I no longer, or that I want to stop for a little bit, and I want to switch and go maybe to a different design, or I need to just step away from this quilt for a minute, this isn't going away. Like I could fold this quilt up. It's harder to see on camera. There we go. That's better. I could fold this quilt up and leave it just like this, and nothing's going to happen to it. Or I could, decide, yeah, maybe this one just isn't for me right now. I don't know how I feel about it. That's going to stay there until it either hits a really hot iron. So like if you live maybe in the desert, like a hot area, you might not want to leave them air conditioned. But that's going to stay there. So there we go. That's going to stay there just like that until you iron that away. So until I take that iron and there we go, iron that away. It's going to stay in that portion. So I absolutely love the Ultimate Marking Pencil. I think it's fantastic for a multitude of different uses. Just like that. And again, we have our fabric back the way it was. Eventually, the tip of the Ultimate Marking Pencil is going to get a little bit more dull as you're marking over and over and over again. So that's why we have that included sharpener in the set for you. You can then just sharpen that pencil up to a really fine point, and then you can toss the shavings into the trash and continue using it. Now, you don't have to put a ton of pressure when you are marking with this pencil. Very, very light on this because you don't want to press it too hard to where it's like going to crack, because we don't want to crack this pencil in half. But you just lightly draw onto your surface, and that's what's going to be there. So that's really fun. Again, Ultimate Marking Pencil on sale right now. I believe it qualifies for that 30% off. So that's really, really great. So make sure you're adding that into your cart. I do have a few questions right here, so I do want to make sure I get those answered. Great question. Does the free shipping excludes the batting rolls? That is correct. Thank you so much for bringing that out. The free shipping over $99 is everything but batting rolls. The batting rolls have a flat shipping fee of $19.99 per roll. So thank you again for putting that in the chat, because the free shipping does not qualify for the batting rolls. Thank you. Okay, so I believe there was another question. Let me look. Any special deals on 30-yard batting rolls? Great question. So the 30-yard batting rolls, those are 35% off. You can't beat that. So I would stock up on those. And then one of those would put you over the 149 roll, depending on which batting roll you get. One of those would put you over the 149 threshold. So then you would get the 2,000 bonus points to use towards another order. And that order will then get you qualified in for that massive giveaway that we are doing and drawing for next week. That giveaway ends 11:59 p.m. On Cyber Monday. And at the very end, we'll go through what is in all of those giveaways again, because it's incredible. Okay, Ultimate Marking Pencil was just there. Let's look at another option. And let's do... I've got so many ones right here that I want to look at. Let's do EasyThread, actually. We're going to do EasyThread. I love EasyThread. So EasyThread is a silicone thread lubricant that we bottle here at Linda's. And we have listened to all of your comments on everything that we have shown, and we really, really appreciate feedback on these. We have switched the bottles to a different type of bottle, because I know a few of you were experiencing some leaking with your bottle. So we have gotten that fixed and switched it to a different tip, which is really, really nice. So this is basically more or less an anti-leak. If I pick it up and go over, we're going to see a few droplets come out of that. A little brighter surface. We're going to see a few droplets come out of that. Now, it is a clear, non-staining silicone lubricant. So if you do drip it on your fabric, once that dries, it's not going to stain the fabric at all. But what EasyThread is really wonderful for doing is it's going to reduce thread breakage, shredding, and lint buildup. Now, you might be saying, well, if I have a good quality thread, why do I need EasyThread? Just because you need EasyThread on your physical thread does not mean it's not a good quality thread, okay? Like, for instance, I love using Glide. And remember that Glide thread is 30% off right now, which is fantastic. I love using Glide. I do a lot of straight line quilting back and forth on my projects. And the way that there is a twist in the thread versus the direction I'm going on my long arm, sometimes that goes the opposite of the twist, okay? And what that's going to do, and I just realized I wasn't displaying that for you guys. There it is. Okay. What that opposite of that twist is going to do is sometimes that might cause the thread to shred or pop apart. What EasyThread is going to do is put a thin layer of that silicone lubricant over the fibers of the thread to keep them bound together to go through your machine. Going to kind of just let it fly right through the machine. So I want to show you how you use it. I use it for that purpose, because I do a lot of straight line quilting. If you ever experience breakage with cotton threads, because cotton is a natural fiber, it will dry out over time. No matter what anyone tells you, it will dry out over time. And sometimes you can see a little bit of breakage when that happens. So it's really, really great to put on your cotton threads, or if you have a variegated thread that has a really harsh dyeing process. And I walked over out of my studio real quick to grab you a few examples. So I'm coming right back to set now. So if we look at this thread, this is a signature French country. I love the yellow and blue variegated. These are my favorite colors together. But when it goes from that really light yellow to like a really harsh blue, sometimes you might experience a little bit of thread weakness because of that harsh color change. It's not that the thread's bad. It's just gone from a really light dye to a really heavy dye. So if it's an older thread, brand new one, not gonna have a problem. But I've had this one for about 10 years now. And it's been sitting in the cabinet. And so it's probably going to need some moisture back into the thread to help it perform better. So what I can do with this is I can take my Ease thread, open this up. Hi, Jana. I'm so glad that you finally figured out the video on the website. Woohoo! I can take that Ease thread and then just drizzle it right down the side of this. I'll turn the thread and drizzle it down again. Turn the thread and drizzle it down again. I do about 3 strips of the Ease thread around the cone of thread. You can also do your little tiny spools as well. Same, about 3. You're just kind of rotating it around. Give it about a minute or 2, and then it's ready to get going. Okay, you can plop this right back onto your machine and start stitching with it. It is non-staining, so it's not going to harm the thread. It's also not going to harm the machine or fabric or anything like that. It also puts, again, that thin layer that it's putting over the thread is going to help take the lint down. If you've ever used cotton thread, you know it's very linty, and that is by design. It's just how it works. It's the fiber type. Okay. If you put that Ease thread, that's going to help lower that lint as well. So when I'm winding my bobbins, I wind my bobbins with my cone that has Ease thread on it. And then I have my same cone on my long arm. If you have 2 cones of the same thread, you can do them both. It just is really going to improve and extend the life of your thread. And it's absolutely fantastic when you are using it. I also love using it on metallic thread. I know sometimes when I say metallic, a few of you go, oh, I don't know about all that. Okay. It's amazing. Okay. Metallic is so much fun as long as you have certain helping points for it. So with metallic thread, because it is a completely different type of fiber that we're not used to, make sure you have a larger needle size. So like I like to go up to like a 5.0 needle, which is a size 21. Very big needle, but the metallic needs a lot of opening in the eye of that needle because it has a lot of play when it's being stitched. Also love putting Ease thread on it. It's going to help go over those fibers, let them kind of just fly through your machine, and you still apply it the exact same way. Okay, and you could barely even see that. It soaks right in to that thread, and it's going to make using metallic much more enjoyable for you. Significantly more enjoyable for you. So it's absolutely fantastic. So that again is Ease thread. Love having this available. I grab a bunch of bottles of these. These are wonderful gifts if you're doing like things for your guild or different kind of like make and take gifts or things like that. Having some Ease thread to gift is fantastic. Comes in a nice little bottle for you. Different information about it. And we also have YouTube videos that take you through it as well. So that one was Ease thread. Again, one of my favorites. Let's look at the soft touch thread pick. That's what we're going to look at next. So let me swap that over. Give me just a second. Okay. So let's take a look at the soft touch thread pick. So what the soft touch thread pick is it's by Clover, and it's a very tiny little hook on the end of this piece. I'm going to pop this one open real quick. Hopefully Sean's not watching. Pop this one open. I need another one anyway, so I'll just buy this one. Oh, maybe. Well, let's see how we open it. There we go. So it's going to pop out. It has a little cover to go over the top of your hook, just like that. Very small, very easy to travel with. Has a little like gray holder, kind of a cushiony holder for your thumb when you're working for it. I don't know if you can see this on camera easily, but right here, if I get up closer, no. I wonder if I turn on the light board and you can see it. Underneath this, and the reason this comes in handy, is after I've quilted something, and sometimes there are stray fibers that got on the batting, and now they're in between the quilted layers. That's when the soft touch thread pick comes in handy. So I will pick up my quilt and kind of lean it in the direction that I need it to be so I can see where I'm going. And I just pop this hook in between those layers and get kind of right underneath that top layer of fabric. You can kind of see that flying around. And that hook is going to then catch on to those fibers for me that are underneath there. I'm trying to do this so you can be able to see it properly, but it's not coming out the right way for me on camera. But I can get that fiber out. It's hard to see on camera, guys. I'm going to pop that in there, and I can pull those threads to the section that I want them to come out in. There they are. Okay. Oh, there it is. Sorry, it was harder to see on camera. But I can grab those and grab those fibers out, and then that's going to allow me to grab a hold of them. Oh, there was a lot of it. Holy smokes. But all of that was underneath. There it is. Was that underneath the white layer of fabric that I could really see. So like if you have like fibers that are left over from another project, I'm going to leave that there for something else. Fibers that are left over from another project, the soft touch thread pick is my favorite, just to pop in between those layers, hook that out, and grab all that excess thread that's going to show through. You'll really see it more. Oh, there's more under there. You guys can see it now. You're really going to see this tool come in handy when you have like red threads or black threads or green, anything under like a really white or pastel or sheer fabric. That's when the soft touch thread pick is going to come in handy. And whenever you're done with it, you can just pop that cap right on the top of it, and then it goes into your little toolbox to be used later. So I love my soft touch thread pick, one of my favorites as well to use. Next thing that I want to show you is the John James Easy Threading Needles. And they are not in this setup yet, so let's add them. I hope everyone's enjoying our first episode of Stream and Shop. I am having fun with you guys. I'm adding a new product into the stream that I wasn't planning on showing, or I was planning on showing, it just hadn't been added yet. But let's pop that in and see if it will pull up. Okay, where are we at? Come on, buddy. Where'd you go? Maybe? Okay, well, this is why I need Sean here. Let's see. I will show. Oh, there they are. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the John James Easy Threading Needles. So what the Easy Threading Needles are is there are 6 needles in the set, and I'm going to look for that set as well so you can see what the packaging looks like. But there are 6 needles in that set, and what it's going to do is one of the needle, or all of the needles, excuse me, will have an opening at the top of the needles. Here they are. They'll all have an opening at the very top of those needles, and it's kind of like a little vein section to pop your threads through, and they just pop right through the top of the needle. I love these for binding. I love them for a multitude of different things, but I use them a lot for tying and burying my threads when I want to bury my top and bobbin threads into my quilt project so I don't see them. Now, this is a bonus feature because you've got, I did a black bobbin and I've got a white top, and we just talked about stray threads hiding underneath a white colored fabric, but on the back is a much darker tan color, and you can kind of get away with it in certain sections. So your bonus here is where we're going to hide these threads so you don't see them. Normally you can work right through the top, which is what I'll show you as well. But I want to show you your little bonus. So if we want to work with these threads, first thing I'm going to do with my tying and burying is I'll take my top thread and my bobbin thread, and I'm going to knot them together. And my friend Joanne taught me when it comes to tying and burying threads, always double knot, just in case. I was always doing a single, but she said always double knot. Okay. So that's going to be my top and bobbin double knotted. Okay. I'm going to take my easy threading needles, and I have them in my little carrying case from my friend Joyce that she made me for Christmas. And I've got that little top section, and I don't know if you'll be able to see as easy, but I can take these threads, and there's a little divot where those are going to sit. You can see it's kind of sitting right over it. And that threads just pop right into the needle, and now the needle is threaded. Okay? I didn't have to figure out about threading the needle. It literally just pops right over the top of it, and now I've got that needle threaded into the section. Love these, okay? So what you could normally do if you didn't have a black thread that you were trying to hide underneath your light colored top is you would go needle in right to where you started stitching or ended stitching, wherever those threads are pulling out from. Travel underneath that top fabric, go maybe a couple inches away, and then take your needle right back out. There it is right there. And then you would pull that all the way through and trim your threads, okay? I'm going to not, because I want to show you a second one, but you would pull that needle all the way through, and that would then hide the start of your stitching and pull your threads out here, which there you will trim, and then you can kind of tuck them underneath. But again, we just talked about using a black thread on top and having to use our soft touch thread pick to get that out of the section. So what I want to do, and here's your little bonus, and I didn't even mean to do this, so that's even better, is I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to go through the batting layer and flip it around to the back. So I've gone into where I stitched, through the batting layer on the back, or in the middle of the sandwich. And I am working on the back side now, and I'm going to come out of this red section where those little berries are. Right there is where I've come out of this. See if I can see that. There we go. That's where I came out underneath. So we've gone in to that section where the threads were coming out of. I went through the batting layer and have popped it, traveled that about an inch, went to where it was a darker section where those berries were. And then if I just pull that through, it's going to pull my top thread, my bobbin thread, and everything to the back. Give that a nice little pull. And then I will grab one of my tools to trim these away. And I'm actually going to grab my hook and snip because we're going to talk about that next. Can trim that right away, right there. The edge, we'll talk about it in a second, but the edge of your hook and snip is also a great way to cover up any stitch holes, okay? So we've got a hidden start. Threads are buried from the top. We flipped them around to the back through the batting so I could hide that black thread on the back side instead of it being underneath the linen color on the top side. So if I did like linen top and bottom, I could do it, of course, through the top of the quilt, underneath that top layer, pop it out and go. But because I was using a darker one and I wanted to hide it underneath a less sheer fabric, went through the batting, through the back, and traveled my way. And it gave me that invisible start and stop look. So again, John James needles, wonderful for tying and burying your threads, wonderful for binding, but just having that little hole at the top, that little slit that the thread just pops right into, allows for so much easier use. I mean, it's almost impossible to see, but it's just a little tiny slit that those just pop right into. 6 needles in there. Multiple different sizes, very easy to store them in here, or you can store them in whatever needle pouch that you've got in that section. Okay, love that one. I'm trying to see, let me make sure there's any questions. These needles are the best. They are the best things. I love the easy threading needles, one of my favorite. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is the hook and snip. Okay, this is my tool that we normally, and I like to be very upfront about this. This tool was originally a different under a different name here at Linda's, and then it got discontinued. And I wanted to bring it back because it's my absolute favorite, but I wanted to make some modifications to it. So they went ahead and were able to put my name on it, which I really liked. So it has a more elongated hook here. It has a deeper hook without a blade in that section, and the scissor blade is a little different, and the spring mechanism is a little different, which I really like. But this is the Corey's Hook and Snip and Tweezer set, okay? As you guys know, I do a ton of paper piecing. It's one of my favorite things as well. And I really needed a nice tweezer for something like that. So the tweezer comes in here. It's a really long, fine point needle nose tweezer, very sharp. And great to get in there and clamp things. And then, of course, the hook and snip is right here. So let's talk about the hook and snip and why it is my absolute favorite. So like you saw when I was trimming the threads, it has a blade mechanism right here that when I squeeze these together, it's going to trim that thread. It is left or right-handed friendly, which is really, really great. The blade is a little bit smoother on one side. So if I'm working next to fabric and I'm trying to trim things away, I'm not worried about snagging on my fabric or cutting it. Like, it's not going to do that. So if I'm getting up next to trim my threads on my long arm or on my sewing machine, that's really, really nice. If I'm working around some applique that I want to do some easy cuts around, and because I couldn't find my applique scissors in time, that works well. Really, really nice. The elongated hook, everyone always asks me, what's the hook for? Okay. So I come from a computerized long arm background. And with your computerized long arm, when you start it, you don't really get to move the machine unless you want to kind of stop your whole process. So when you start it, the only way to get your thread from underneath your foot is to either kind of swoop the thread underneath or pull a ton of excess. With this hook, you can get right under the foot of that. Let's say this is the foot of the machine, okay? Right under the foot and pull those threads out. When I got into the quilt as you go process using the Quist system, I loved being able to pull my top and bobbin thread up with my hook and snip on my domestic machine as well. So using that hook, it's really going to get in there and grab things. I also like using it in the Sasher tools, which we're going to show that, I think, towards the very end. So I'll use it again so you can see it that way. I also mentioned the back edge of the hook section, so the rounded edge. When I brush that over fabric, that's going to cover up any stitch holes that I may have had to pop threads out, and I can easily just kind of brush that side against the fabric, and it's going to cover up those holes and kind of put them back together. The pointed part of the hook, I like to use that as a stiletto if I need to hold my pieces together while it's going through the machine, or if I need to give it a little extra pull. Wonderful for that. Great elongated hook if I need to flip my binding at an angle. It's a perfect size to use that. And then, of course, those little tweezers that come in there, you can use that for all your different tweezer needs. I use it primarily for taking the paper out, the tiny little paper pieces out of the foundation paper piecing when I do that. But you can use it for so many different things, pulling your thread through your needle. A bunch of different applications are in that section. So that is the hook and snip. If you're just joining us for the Stream and Shop session and you are watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, I would recommend hopping over to our website, lindas.com, and you can use the live shopping feature on there and add these products directly to your cart while you are watching live. A great thing to have while you're watching us live. Alrighty. Okay, so that was the hook and snip. Another thing I want to talk to you about is the Stitcher's Friend. You guys know I talk about this one all the time, and I will continue talking about it all the time. The Stitcher's Friend is an item. This is 10 different tools in one beautiful little lime green tool, section, tip, all sorts of things right here. So let's talk about the 10 different tools that are on it, and then I'm going to answer a few different questions that I normally get when I'm showing this one. Let's see if I can get this on a darker section so you can see it. Oh, much better. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the 10 different tools that are on here. So the first one is a 6-inch ruler on that top side. Okay. Then you have a 5 centimeter ruler on this bottom left side here. You also have a 50 millimeter ruler, same thing in that centimeter. You got centimeter and millimeter, both on that one side. Another great gift the Stitcher's Friend is whenever you're shopping for friends or different things for guilds. If you're doing some giveaways in your guilds, these are wonderful to grab. So we did 50 millimeter roll. You've got seam guides. We'll talk about that in a moment. Point turner. So right here at the very sharp point, you got a nice point turner to use to pop out any points whenever you're trying to make that perfect point. You have a 45-degree angle. I use this a lot when I'm trying to set up myself for a perfect 45 for binding. I've got that. You've got a 60-degree line on this side right here. You also have a seam press. So if you want to press your seams open to the side, different directions, that side is a good seam press to use to give you a little something extra, and unless you want to take it to the iron. And then you also have a 1/4 inch seam allowance line right here. Okay. So that dotted line is your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay. Now that was 8 of the 10 tools. Your 9th tool is your seam guides. So you have a 1/4 inch seam guide, a 3/8, a half, a 5/8, and a 3/4, all right here. And I think, let me get you a little bit more of a zoom. Remember, guys, you might have a little bit of a shake on the zoom because I've got to stand up on the ladder and press the zoom button. But I want you to be able to see those guides a little bit better, so I do apologize for the shake of the camera. Okay, much better. You can really see those guides now. Okay, so right here are those little holes, and that's your seam guide. So the reason there are holes there is you can take this to your machine, and if you rotate it this way where the seam press side is towards you, you can use these guides to roll your needle down into, and then that's going to set either your 1/4, your 3/8, your half, your 5/8, or your 3/4. So you just roll your needle down into that guide if you're trying to follow the side of your foot. If you're trying to do like a 3/4 inch, for instance, you could, again, roll your needle down, maybe put a piece of painter's tape on the bed of the machine down the side, and then when you take this out and you take your needle out and take this out, you can follow that painter's tape. Let's ultimate marking pencil, let's do that. So let's say this is on, we've rolled the needle down into the 3/4 inch. I put a piece of painter's tape down, mark this really heavy so you can see it. That's my painter's tape, okay? And then when I remove that, if I'm stitching along, because I lined up my needle in the 3/4 inch slot, and I'm stitching along, then I'm going to get a 3/4 inch stitching line on that one. So different seam guides are in there. If your machine doesn't have the feature where you can just tell it what to do, this is wonderful. Another one that we're seeing on a lot of the newer patterns is a scant 1/4 seam. And I always get the question, well, what is a scant 1/4 seam versus a 1/4 inch seam? Because people like to make things difficult, and they got to do things a specific way. We can't just follow the 1/4 inch guide. They've added the scant 1/4, which is a hair less of a seam than a 1/4 inch. So I know it's very hard to tell on camera, but that scant 1/4 is slightly above that 1/4 inch seam guide, where that 1/4 inch is right in the middle of that 1/4 inch seam line. So it's slightly less. Some patterns require that for like different points or different things that they come up with that they work for. So that scant 1/4, I use that a lot when a pattern requests a scant 1/4 because I don't know the exact setting on my machine. So I'll roll my needle down. Actually, here's your pro tip. I use my 1/4 inch foot because it has that guide on the side. I'll put my 1/4 inch foot on. I will set this tool underneath the foot of that machine and match that edge with the edge of that 1/4 inch foot. Okay, so this is the edge of our 1/4 inch foot. Let's just say this is the foot. I match that edge. Now, if I put my needle down, it would fit perfectly in the 1/4 inch hole because I have a 1/4 inch foot on. But when I pull this down and still match the edge to the edge of the 1/4 inch foot, I'll move my needle over to drop it in the scant 1/4, and then I can have a scant 1/4 inch foot and still have that nice guide that my 1/4 inch foot gives me. If you don't have a 1/4 inch foot, or if you don't have a guide on your 1/4 inch foot, you can still use that painter's tape trick that I talked about. But this is going to allow you to know exactly what seam guide you need. And it's, again, 10 different tools in one. Love, love, love the Stitcher's Friend. I think it has so many benefits. And again, wonderful gift, wonderful stocking stuffer to add to your collection. All right. I'm going to zoom the camera out again. Ooh, sorry again for the shake, guys. Take your Dramamine. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's see. Do I have any questions? Don't see any questions. All good. Okay. Let me check other places. Okay. I think everyone's good. Okay. Go team. Woohoo! All right. So that was the Stitcher's Friend. Next thing I want to talk about Let's do, should we look? Oh, yeah, that's what we're going to look at next. Let's look at the Crystal. You guys know this one's one of my favorites. The Crystal Quilter Select 3-in-1 ruler. This is one of my favorite rulers in the Quilter Select family because it can do so many different things. Now, I said 3-in-1 and I said Crystal. Two big things. So let's start with Crystal. So Crystal is the new addition from Quilter Select, meaning it's perfectly clear. Quilter Select is known for that iconic kind of golden yellow ruler that they have, but they have started switching some of their rulers to the Crystal edition. So they're crystal clear and they're stunning. Now, if you've never used a Quilter Select ruler before, when you're reading the words Quilter Select or quilterselect.com, that top section is very slick, okay? Like a normal ruler is. It's how it's supposed to be. But if I flip this over, and this would be the side that's facing the fabric, this backside, this has a grip on it that's not going to, I mean, it's harder for me because I'm not fabric, but it has the science that it's going to just attach to the fabric. It's not going to leave a residue or anything, but if I place it on a piece of fabric, which we'll do in a minute as well, but if I place it on a piece of fabric, I'm using one finger and it's moving. Let me pull it over here so you can see it. It's moving the fabric. I'm not even holding a lot of pressure. And it's holding it on that fabric, where if I flip this over on the normal slick side, where most of our rulers are, doing the same thing, and it's moving, okay? And the fabric's not. So with this one, I can use this ruler, and it's going to hold on to that fabric for me really, really nice. Not have any issues. Wonderful when you're cutting, okay? So if I want to cut a piece of fabric, and this is just a regular straight line cut, okay? But I'll show you what else I can do. But like, it's not going to move at all when I cut, which is fantastic. I always had issues with my ruler slipping until I found Quilter Select rulers. And I think they're fantastic. Now, the 3-in-1, this is the cool part. The 3 tools that it offers you is a squaring up tool. So you can do up to a 4.5 by 4.5 section here that you can square up. So this is the square up side. If I rotate this around, this is the half square triangle side. So you can do all these different sizes of half square triangles, and I'll show you one set real quick. And then if I rotate this again, this top right portion here, this top right portion is going to be your quarter square triangles. So there's 3 different tools built into this little one apparatus, which is cool. Now, I love doing half square triangles. If I'm doing a ton of them, I'll do them in a larger section. I do have a video on our YouTube channel showing you how to do multiples at a time. But if I only want to do a few, I love the half square triangle section of the Crystal 3-in-1. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to do a 3-inch one. I'm going to cut real quick, just so we can see it together. And my fabric is not straight at all. You won't be able to see the whole cut, so I do apologize because I've got the camera zoomed in so far. But I'm going to cut 3-inch strips for this. Okay, so I'm going to grab my other Crystal ruler. This is the Crystal 4.5 by 18. Half, 1, 2, so that's 3. I always have to talk myself through when it has a half on the ruler. I don't know why, but I got to talk myself through it. Okay, and that's going to give me my 3-inch strips. I can take these fabrics. Let's go this way. Just like this. I'm going to leave them stacked on top of one another. I can take these fabrics and I can line that bottom 3-inch. There we go, so you can see it. That bottom 3-inch line with the bottom of my 2 3-inch strips. And that top portion now, because we have it rotated around, is supposed to have that little blunt end. It's not broken, okay? It's made to lay nice and flat across the top of your strip. So I'm going to cut this at a 45, just like that, okay? And if I take these 2 pieces now and put them together, then when I sew these sections, it's going to give me that perfect square that I'm looking for. So let's do another one, just so we can see options. So line up our 45 now. We've rotated this template, so it was like this. We've rotated it back. Going to do the 3-inch line, the 45 degree, and that bottom blunt edge, and trim. Okay. Here's my 2 pieces. Lay them together. That's much better. I think I had a missing. I didn't cut this strip all the way. Excuse me, to the side. Because you want to see both those little blunt edges there. And that's going to create my half square triangle block. Now, you're looking at that and you're like, okay, that's not very blocky. It's more of a rectangle, which it is. When you match these two up together, so if I folded these right sides together, you always want to match your points, your 90-degree point, and the lines. So your horizontal and your vertical lines. You don't want to match your edge points here. They're supposed to hang off. That's by design. Okay, that's how you're going to get that perfect square to create your perfect half square triangle. So then you would do a 1/4-inch seam down that side, and then down that angle, and then when you flip it open, I'm going to try and do it so you can see it. Boom. You would end up with your block, your cute little half square triangle block, just like that. So cute. The crystal family, there are 4 different rulers. The 4.5, no, 5. I'm just showing you this one today because it's wonderful to fit into the stocking, hence the stocking stuffer episode. But you can also browse the rest of the crystal edition on our website as well. So that was the Quilter Select Crystal. We've looked at so many things, and still we haven't looked at so many things. I feel like I'm talking too much, but I really want you to know about the products because there's a lot to know about them, and they're all on that incredible sale. All these things I've been showing you are on so far on that incredible Notion sale that we're having. So you just can't beat it. All right. Let's look at our rotary cutters. I was just using that, so I want to show you those. So here at Linda's, we have partnered with Famoré, and Famoré are the original designers of the ball bearing rotary cutter. Their handles look like this, okay? And they're the original designers of that system that has the ball bearing on the inside. And when I reached out to them, I said, I really want to create a rotary cutter with your incredible ball bearing system because I'm in love with it. But I like to hold my rotary cutter like this, okay? I just like the feel of it. I like the hold of it. I just like the positioning of everything. And I want nice grips on this because I don't want to lose anything while I'm cutting. And they said, say less. We can do that. So we partnered with them, and we have a 45-millimeter Linda's ergonomic rotary cutter and a 60-millimeter Linda's ergonomic rotary cutter. So I've added the 45 onto the screen right now, and then I'll add the 60 here in a moment. 45-millimeter, again, has that incredible ball bearing system on the inside. This rotary cutter is held together with literally just your screw, your back part to hold it on, your blade, and that's it, okay? There's no extra washers or anything needed, and it has that, I don't know if you can hear this, ball bearing system on the inside. That's what's going to allow everything to glide so nicely when you are cutting. One question that I do get, and it is a valid question, is when I'm using this rotary cutter, Corey, actually, hold on that question. I want to show you one thing because I know this is another question that I get. Do I have to use Famoré blades in my rotary cutter? I highly recommend Famoré blades because they have the perfect circle cutout in that blade. Some blades will have, that's a good one right there. Some blades will have those little like rectangular notches around the outside. And with those, they'll get caught in the ball bearing system. So you want that perfect circle so it sits on that cylinder to go into the ball bearing. So that's a big thing. Perfect circle. And if you didn't know, Famoré offers a blade sharpening service. So if you get a package of blades and you've gone through them over the year or 2 years that you use them, you can send those blades back in that little plastic packaging that they send you when you get the replacement blades, and you can get them resharpened. And that's an incredible service that they offer. And you just have to pay the shipping back and forth. So it's a fantastic service. So as you can see, I'm even just spinning this freely. And you can see how easy that moves. Okay. Now the question that I get is when I open up this, let's use a smaller ruler. When I open up my ruler to cut, or my rotary cutter to cut, like this. Sometimes my blade wobbles, okay? That is by design. It's supposed to have more movement in it. That's what's going to allow you to easily just cut back and forth and take all the pressure off of your wrist and shoulders and elbows. So as long as you're putting it right up next to a beautiful ruler and cutting, you're going to get a perfect cut every time, regardless of if your blade has movement. That is by design, okay? You want to make sure you tighten this really tight as well, your screw, when you're tightening it down. You don't want to leave that untightened, because then, of course, the screw can fall off. You don't want that. But you do want to have a little bit of movement. That's what's also going to allow you, if you do any curved cutting, that movement in that blade allows you to make that curve so much easier, because it's not like kind of sticking you into that washer in traditional rotary cutters. You're really going to have good movement with that rock of that blade, just like that, okay? Also, that's going to help increase the life of your cutting mat and the life of your overall blade. But you can work through so many different things with having that option. So that is the 45 millimeter. We also, again, offer it in a 60 millimeter. Love our 60 millimeter. A lot of questions, why would I need a 60 millimeter? If you're cutting through multiple layers of like batting or leather or jeans or things like that, the 60 millimeter, it makes a huge difference because you're getting a bigger blade. You also have a bigger handle. So if you have maybe arthritis in your hands, a bigger handle is easier to hold as opposed to a smaller handle. Still having that same locking mechanism until you pop the trigger, and then it's going to hold. I know some people that might not like to hold this all the time, so you can lock this in place so it still stays out. I highly recommend that you don't, because if you leave this out and you accidentally grab fabric all at one time, you can easily cut yourself. So always keep that locked when you're not using it. Same easy mechanism to change out. Another thing that I wanted to make sure with Famoré is I love using stripology rulers. They're like one of my favorite things as well. And the stripology, if you've never used one, that has little slits in each of these numbers, so then I can easily just drop my blade into it and cut, okay? So we made sure when we manufactured these with Famoré, or we collaborated. We didn't manufacture them, they did that. But we collaborated with them. If I pull both of these handles, you'll see that these blades drop lower than traditional cutters do. And the reason is I wanted to make sure you were able to get into your inset rulers without having to cause any drag or skipped cutting because of the guard on the bottom. So all of these will drop lower than standard traditional ones, so you can fit them into your stripologies, into your QCRs, your So Kind of Wonderfuls, so many different ones that you've got. And they'll pull right in. Deb's got a wonderful question. Do you sell the blades for that cutter? We sure do. Let me pop those on the screen for you as well. Let me add that in. I did not add that one in because why would I add in replacement blades, Corey? Come on now, let's... Okay. One-man show here. I miss my mom. But she is at home resting, so that's good. Let's see. I will get them added. If I don't get them added in time, you can also search our website for the Famoré replacement blades. And, oh, I found them. Hold on. So the 45 millimeters are currently out of stock, the 45 millimeter replacement blades. You guys have been shopping a lot. But I do have the 60 replacement, so I will drop those on. The 45 should be here any day. Hopefully they'll be here Monday. They should be here any day. Let me drop the 60s on at least so you can see those. See if it replaces it in. It's not loading in. Okay. It's not loading into the software for some reason, so it might pop up later. I will make sure I add it back in if it does pop up. But you can just search our website for Famoré replacement blades. And the Famoré is Famore. And you can type in replacement blades. But I would highly recommend picking these up right now while they are on that discount of the 30% off for the Notion. So you've got the 45 and the 60 millimeter right there. But you can find those those rotary cutters on our website, and then of course the replacement blades. Unfortunately, the 45s are out of stock right now. They were in stock, but y'all were shopping, which I like that. But they've got the 60s available as well. Okay. Next thing I want to look at in the Lindis family as well, and another collaboration with Famoré, is going to be Carla on sale. On Monday, they will be on sale still. On Monday, they will be on sale still. Cyber Monday will go until then, so it's all good. Next one in collaboration with Famoré is going to be our Linda's batting scissors. Okay, so I love the Linda's batting scissors, and they come in 2 different colors. I personally like the blue, but that's just me. They come in 2 different colors. They come in our pink, our Linda's pink, and our Linda's blue. And they are really nice, open, wide handles to get your hands in. A long, hollow grounded stainless steel blade in here, which is going to give you a really nice, sharp cut. But that hollow ground helps them with not being too heavy, which is a really big thing. They are blunt edged at the end. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. Oh, there we go. They're blunt edged here at the end. So they're not going to get caught while you're cutting. And they're going to go through multiple layers of batting at a time. This is 3 layers right now. And I've got just right all the way through to create a beautiful cut. Now, that was 3 layers of batting. That's now 6 layers. So let's do 6. Boom. Okay, can't beat that. Do you think I could do 12? I don't see why I can't. Yeah, let's do 12. That's 12. Boom. Okay, just like that. Wonderful to cut on, and again, not snagging on anything, your fabric or your batting while you're cutting. If you get like the batting by the roll where it's folded and you try to cut in between the layers, if you use regular pointed scissors, sometimes they get snagged on. This is just going to allow you to cut right in between those pieces without snagging on anything. Love, love, love these sections as we are working on. Good question. Can you stack up your discount codes? You can use different codes together as well. There is a limit on how many you can go with. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't go too crazy because eventually it'll kick you out. But you can add a few different ones. So you can use one of your some of your Corey's Cash discounts if you have those in your account, along with the other incredible sales that we have as well. Or if you have an affiliate code from some of our different affiliates that we work with, those codes still work as well. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I didn't say anything, but I said something. So again, the Linda's batting scissors. I am running a little bit out of time here, so I'm going to speed through my last 2 things. I really wanted to show you. Let's save that for that. I want to show you the Sasher tools because I said that I would. I want to see those real quick, but we're getting towards the end of our session. Okay, so as you guys know, or if you didn't know, we are the exclusive distributor for the Pauline's Quilters World products here in the United States. Her company is out of Australia. And I think these 2, and I'll put both of them up individually so you can see them. Okay, so the Sasher Mini Collection, these tools were originally created for doing quilt as you go sashings, which we'll have a whole quiz episode on Saturday. But I love these tools for my binding as well. So I like having the Sasher Mini set. So it's 2 of the tiny ones. It's the 1.25" and an 1.1", and the magic binding tool in my kind of in my arsenal when I'm working with things. And you're going to see why. So I want to take a look at using the 1.25" or the 1.1", and then we're going to look at the magic binding tool. These are kind of my 3 favorites. So I'm going to leave this one on the screen right now for you to choose. And then when we get to this one, I'll add that one on the screen. So you can easily just pop open the back of these. There are QR codes on the back of all the products, so you can watch a cute little video on them as well. And then they're going to be stuck to the system right here. You can easily just pop that off. and then there has some brown backing on one side of them. This would be a wonderful job for my hook and snip, that I could just grab that, pull that up, and then you could pull that whole backing piece off, and that's what's going to allow you to then use it. So the Sasher tool, the 1.25" one, is going to work perfect for your 2.5" strips of binding. Whatever the size on the Sasher tool says is going to be half of what the fabric width is. So if I'm using a 2.5" strip for my binding, I'm going to get my 1.25" Sasher tool. Some people like to use a 2.25" strip, and so that's why I like these two together. The 1.125" would then be the one that you use. So whatever size Sasher you're using, the fabric that's going through it will be double the size, or vice versa. So a 2.5" wide strip of binding, 1.25" Sasher tool. I'm going to grab my ironing surface. Okay. And I'm going to have to do this a little different because the camera is a little shorter. But I'm going to take my binding piece and I'm going to fold it in half and meet the raw edges together. Take my iron and press that first little section till that gets nice and flat, nice and hot. Okay. It's going to be my section there. The rest of that's still open. I'm going to grab my Sasher tool. This is the 1.25" one, remember, for my binding. Feed that through that left side from the bottom. Go over and push it through on the top, and it's going to feed in just like that. If you have an issue feeding the strip through, you could lay it right over that section, grab your hook and snip, and then just press it right through. Okay? Love having the hook and snip available for that. I can take this piece and I'm going to pin it into my ironing surface. So I will grab my pins. I'm just going to pin it into my ironing surface real quick. Okay. And I'm going to do 2 pins. This is when the clover fork pins would come in handy. Those are in my other studio, so I don't have them up here, but this will work. But I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab my iron. If you're using pins like these that have those little plastic edges, be very careful. Maybe even put a piece of fabric over it. You don't want to melt those, so be very careful with that. But you can take your iron, hold your iron nice and straight. Don't put like the tip of that iron in the tip of that curved section. Just hold your iron nice and straight. And you're just going to push that right along. And that's going to help fold and press your binding for you all the way across. Going to give you a nice crisp edge. I love how I said crisp. Got to add in that extra oomph on it. But a nice crisp section on your binding. It's perfectly folded and it's going right through that Sasher tool. No worries at all about melting the Sasher tool at all. It's going to be heat resistant, so it's not going to melt. You want to make sure you get the authentic ones from us here at Linda's. I have seen some fake ones floating around the internet. Those melt. Ask me how I know. I ordered some to try them. Okay. But you just press that right along. Wonderful for creating a lot of binding at once because it's going to create that fold. And while it's pushing that and you're pressing, it's getting a nice, sharp, crisp edge to have your binding ready for you. So again, that is the Sasher mini set, my favorite set. There's a bunch of different sizes of Sashers. We're going to look at that in Saturday's quiz episode. But those are going to be your 1.125" and 1.25" for your binding. Now, if you want to go a little extra, because you know I like extra, you guys know I love extra, you can get the magic binding tool. I'd get this one as well. You definitely need the magic binding tool in your set. And I'm going to throw that one on the screen here for you. Okay. This one is the magic binding tool. And it's going to say that on there. There are instructions on the back of the magic binding tool, so you can always have that there if you ever need it. Same opening process on this. You just peel that back. You're going to pull your Sasher out. Maybe. That one doesn't want to leave us. There it goes. Come on, buddy. Make your appearance. Okay, so magic binding tool. Same brown paper on the back side, and that's going to keep it from getting scratched on the back side whenever it's being manufactured. But you can use your hook and snip or tweezers or anything and just pop that in and peel that brown paper off. Best results you'll get when you're using your tool, okay? So I'm going to grab my other one, and we're going to use that one. So what magic binding tool is going to do is, have you ever seen like your flange, is what they call it here, little piece of coloring that kind of sticks out from the fabric, and you're really like, oh, I really want to make one of those, but sometimes I don't want to add in that excess fabric at the end. Well, in Australia, they call a flange a peeper strip. I love saying peeper. I love saying that. The peeper strip. And the magic binding tool helps you do that all, that binding all in one. So you don't have to worry about putting a bunch of different pieces together during the actual binding process. We actually cut 2 strips of fabric, sew them together, and then feed them through the magic binding tool, and it creates that flange for us. So let's take a look at how that's done. So I'm going to grab my fabrics that I need. So your main color, so the main piece of the binding that you're going to see, the largest section of color that you're going to see for that binding, you're going to cut that at 1.5 inches. If I'm not mistaken, let me double check. Yes, 1.5 inches. And then the strip that you want to be your peeper strip, so have that little flange, you're going to cut that at 1.75 inches. You're going to put those right sides together, and do a 1/4 inch stitch down the side. Okay. So I did 1.5 inches of the red because I want that to be my main color. And I did 1.75 inches of the green because that's going to be my peeper strip. Okay. And I did a 1/4 inch seam down the side of that. Okay. You don't technically have to press this, but I do. So the smaller section, I have that on top here, and I have the peeper strip, the flange strip on the bottom. I'm going to grab my iron, and you're basically pressing towards that other side. But this is how I press to one side. It's easier for me. Okay. Give that a nice press. Nice crisp fold in that section, just like that. When I flip this over, you'll be able to see that it's pressed over to that side. Press again from the back, just in case, just like that. Okay, so just like we did with our binding, we're going to flip these together, and you're going to start seeing, there's your flange, there's your peeper strip. You're going to call it a peeper strip now for the rest of your life. There's your peeper strip, okay? You're going to take your magic binding tool, which is made to be a little bit wider to accommodate the flange. Open that. Again, if you have issues going through that bottom side, take one side of your hook and snip and press that in. You've got that there. I would then pin that into my surface. So I'm going to pin that over here. Just so that's in my surface. Keep it nice and steady. There we go. Okay. I'm going to grab my iron and then just iron right across it, just like you did with the binding. Okay. Keep that nice and even. Up and go. And I'm giving a little bit of a hit here and there because when you're going over some seam lines, sometimes that's harder. I'm just going to go all the way. I'm going off camera because I'm going off to the side here, but all the way. And now I've created a cute flange binding to go on my quilt. And I don't have to worry about holding other pieces while I'm working together. But my magic binding tool is life. Absolutely love that one when I'm creating that. So how would I add this onto the quilt, you ask? Great question. So I would sew this one onto the back of my quilt. Okay, so sew that onto the back. Flip that around to the front of the quilt. Look at that. Isn't that cute? And then I would stitch right here in the ditch between the peeper strip and the main color of the binding. And then it's going to give that flange that little bit of play that then whoever has that quilt can then just play with that flange around the quilt. Frames it really well around that section. But again, back of the quilt, then you would flip it around to the front, and then you would sew right in the ditch, right there, into those sections, just like that. Cute. Stunning. Perfect. Gorgeous. Okay. I see. Should we show one more? You guys are going to see me in about 45 minutes, but I want to show more. Let's do one more thing. So if you are working, we're going to look at the glue and stuff later. I use that a lot for binding, but we'll look at that during the quiz episode. But if you're working with glue or different colors of fabric or different types of fabric or like fusible battings and stuff like that, sometimes you can get some gunk on your iron plate. Okay. And that can cause some transfer over onto other things. And we don't want that. We don't want transfers of other things onto our nice projects by any means. So I like to use the Bonash iron clean sheets to keep things nice and clean on my iron. Okay, so in this, there's 10 sheets for your iron. I put these in all of my suitcases when I travel because if you've ever used a hotel iron before, you know. Okay, but I love having these when I travel with them just in case I need to clean that iron off. But I've got some open right here. So with that sheet, I can just lay that on my ironing surface. Can work on any type of iron, even the diamond coated, plated ones, serrated ones. I just lay that down and then I take my hot iron and just iron right over that. And it's going to pull any gunk off of that iron in that one little pull that it needs. I'm just going to yank that around, keep scrubbing, okay? Until it's nice and flat, which means it's done. Boom. And then my iron is perfectly nice and clean. Okay, which it was a little clean before. There was a little gunk on one side, but nice and clean. There's a scratch on it, but that's okay. Nice and clean, and I can use it for, just keep going and keep going. But I can just iron that away, and then I'm good to go. So I love keeping those Bonash iron clean sheets on hand in my studio or when I travel, just because when I travel, you guys know. If you've used a hotel iron, you know. Okay, that was a lot. We went through, oh, wait. There's another thing I got to tell you. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry. We have many scents available. I'm just putting one up so you can see what I'm talking about. I would hop over to our website and search for all of them. But, and what iron is that? Great question. This is the Aliso M3 project iron, the little mini one. Has a little headlight on it. I love that. And I love the Elisa ones. I have too many. It's probably embarrassing to say. But the M3 Pro Project Iron, if you are doing your ordering over this past, from Monday until this coming Monday, and you are placing your orders, every order gets you an entry into the grand prize drawing giveaway. So let's hop back over just so everyone can see that real quick for those that joined us afterwards. Thanking all of our sponsors. If you happen to be one of the winners of that drawing, which will happen next week, the grand prize includes one of these Aliso M3 Project Pros at that very top section, that top tier. 2 of the wool ironing mats, the carrying case for the iron rotary cutters, those crystal rulers we were looking at today. 2 of the crystal rulers we didn't look at today, but those, and then a cutting mat. Second place is a roll of batting and some batting scissors. Third place is 30 mini glides and an embellishment kit. Fourth place is 4 of the classic Quilter Select rulers. And then fifth place is Aurifil threads and some Hobbs Tuscany batting. Thanking all of our sponsors again. Hobbs, Aurifil, Quilter Select, Aliso, Famoré, Kimberbell, Philtech, a bunch of different sponsors put all these together for you guys. So we're very happy and thankful for them. But that's that iron, and it's a possibility that you could win it. If not, you might want to go ahead and take your chances. It's on sale as well on our website. Now, this is one of those up to, because there are manufacturer restrictions on how low you can go on an Aliso iron, but it's still a good sale, and it qualifies you for all those other things. So you can hop over to the website and grab that as well. I did want to say one final thing. How do I get from here to your website? Great question. Once the stream is over, you'll be directly on our website, or if you have an issue, you can hop right over to lindas.com. In the stream, if you've added things to your cart, you can click on the little cart button on the right-hand side, your little shopping bag button, and that will take you into your actual order. So you can process that, but it'll still keep that same cart for you. One last thing that I do want to show you before we go, and I'll see you again momentarily, actually, because I went a little longer today, but I thought it was fun. We had a lot to talk about. Um, if you are a fan, like I am, of Best Press, I've got different scents here. We have multiple different scents available here at Linda's, and they are on a great sale right now. They are 50% off. Okay, so if you like Best Press, this is the Caribbean Beach that's on the screen. We've got linen, we've got citrus grove, we've got lavender, we've got peaches and cream, we've got cherry blossom. I think that's all of them. Tea rose. We've got so many different ones that are available. You can see which ones that are there, but they're 50% off right now. So if you like Best Press, that's the time to use it. If you've never heard of Best Press before, I don't know what it is. It's a clear starch and sizing alternative for your fabrics. So before you start cutting your fabrics, this one's already cut, so don't go against me on that. But before you start cutting your fabrics, you can use this, and this is the Linen Fresh, and you can just spritz it over the fabric. One pro tip when using Best Press, spray it on the back of the fabric, not the front, just in case it has a little bit of sheen to it when it's been ironed, because sometimes it can, and you don't want the sheen to be on the front. So you just do it from the back. But then you're just going to press your fabrics. That'll kind of resize it, keep it nice and flat, get all of the excess shrinkage out of it. Not all of it, but majority of some of the excess shrinkage out of it, and give it just a nice flat look. And then you can start cutting it up. It's going to keep things nice and flat in that section, and it's going to smell oh so fresh using the Linen Fresh one, which I think is on the screen right now. But there are multiple different scents, and you can hop over to our website to find all of them in there. Okay. That wasn't even all of the stocking stuffers that I have, but I have to take a quick break because I'll be back here at 1 o'clock with you guys to talk about thread. So I'm very excited about that. But I want to thank all of you so much for joining episode 1 of our Stream and Shop session. Remember, we've got 7 of these across the weekend. The next one happens in 36 minutes. So I've got to run downstairs, get a quick bite to eat, and come back up. We're going to talk about all things thread. So if you have any thread questions, make sure you bring them to the Stream and Shop session. I'll be happy to answer those thread questions. I'm also going to take you through the ones that we carry here at Linda's. We also have a ton of other options available online. We're just going to talk about different sizes, weights, fiber types, and then you get to see some of those other products in action and take advantage of some of those thread sales that are happening as well. Again, I want to give a big shout out to all of our sponsors that are helping with the wonderful Black Friday bonus giveaway. I will pop that on the screen for you again. Every order that you place gets you 1 entry into the bonus giveaway. Shout out to Aliso, Quilter Select, Famoré, Filtech, Kimberbell, Linda's, Orifil, and Hobbs for helping us out to craft these incredible bundles for you. Again, 1 entry per order. The giveaway entry in the entry deadline, I guess, would be 11:59 p.m. on Cyber Monday. So keep that in mind. And just a big thank you to all of them for helping us craft those together. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's first morning episode. I will see you back at 1 p.m. Central, which is now in 35 minutes, where we go through all things thread and talk about all the different sales that are happening with that. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.